Karen, whatever.
Another witness, another instance of perjury, or instances, I'd say.
Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you have been here before, or welcome if it's your first time tuning in. If you have just come upon this channel, I would love it if you would subscribe and put on that notification bell, because we are going to have a lot more in the way of psychic analysis and insights into the Karen Read retrial. So today we are doing a psychic analysis, our second in this series, regarding the retrial testimony of the great pretender, Jen McCabe. And the reason I have dubbed her the great pretender, especially in this particular trial, the retrial, is because she is coming across now as sweet and kind and forgiving and oops, sorry. This whole demeanor of hers is such an act, you guys. I can pick up on subtleties and not so subtleties in people's behavior that indicate deception. I've always been able to do it. And this whole little nice girl, nicey nice act that she is coming forward with, it's an act. It's an entire facade. So we're gonna dissect it bit by bit today. I think I've got 4 clips for you, and I'll try to run through them as quickly as possible so as not to keep you for a very long time. But again, we are looking at Jen McCabe in her cross-examination as performed by Alan Jackson. Today I'm going to be working with Bethalima Tarot deck. Love this one. So yeah, let's jump right in and look at our first clip. Check it out.
For context, were you talking about a statement that was made in Karen's car on that morning before you got to the scene?
Yes, that was a comment she made in the car.
And she said the phrase, you recounted that she said the phrase, could I have hit him? Correct?
Yes, that was part of my answer.
Take a look at page 193. This was also in the context of a conversation that was in Karen's car, correct?
Yes.
And the phrase that you attributed to my client was, could I have hit him? The question, correct?
Yes.
Page 193, line 23. The context of being in John's driveway at One Meadows.
Yes.
And you attributed the statement, and she's asking if she could have hit him, correct?
Yes, when she showed me her taillight.
Page 201. This is driving to Fairview. She asked, what if I hit him? Could I have hit him? Ms. McCabe, your full statement at page 208 was, quote, so there are different, police officers getting statements from us. And at one point I'm standing with Miss Reed and she's saying, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And there was, I believe, an EMT, a female, standing right next to me listening to her yelling, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Is he dead? Is he dead?
Okay, guys, so the famous did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Which somehow morphed into I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And if you happen to have caught Katie McLaughlin, I believe is her name, she's the EMT. If you happen to have seen any bit of her rancid cross-examination testimony, all of a sudden now, guys, there are 4 mentions of I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 4 times, not 3. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You can't. But look at this. We had 5 cards come out just for this one moment alone. So there was a lot going on for the great pretender at that moment in time. I'm going to zoom in so I can show you these cards. Alrighty, friends, we have the 8 of Cups, the 10 of Wands, the Hierophant, the Queen of Cups, and the 2 of Swords. Oh my goodness, the 2 of Swords. I'm just going to jump around here. The 2 of Swords is deadlock. Decisions, decisions, decisions. How should Jen McCabe play this particular moment in time? The did I hit him? Could I have hit him? She was definitely of 2 minds, and typically the 2 of Swords is in a place where there is no right way to do this. In other words, she definitely needs to wiggle her way, aka lie her way out of this one, because it is clear that she has already stated the term, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Or those words, those terms. She's already said that. She has already admitted to that in previous testimony. So she's at a place here where she cannot deny her own former words. She can try. She can pretend to say, I don't recall. I don't recall. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't recall. But she's not sorry. She just has nowhere else to go. She's at a standstill. And look at this, guys. 8 of Cups, Queen of Cups. Absolutely 100%. She's well aware that Alan Jackson has no use for this woman other than to get her to admit to her own deceitful statements and lies, her lies. And the 8 of Cups is somebody turning away from that lack of affection, from that place of recognizing that there's just this coldness, this emptiness. So she's feeling it. So what does she do? She brings up her Queen of Cups. Again, as I mentioned previously, she tries to come off as this loving, empathetic, compassionate, innocent being whose only intention on the morning of January 29th was to assist Karen Reed and to be sure that her good friend, John O'Keefe, was safe and sound. This Queen of Cups, okay, this philanthropic figure. But sorry, she knew and she knows even now that the 8 of Cups, there's no great emotion, and she probably knows that she's not winning any points with anybody. This is a facade. This is the proof of her facade, knowing full well that Alan Jackson probably can't stand this woman. She's trying to ingratiate herself. She's trying to come off as this loving, compassionate figure, maybe in the jury's eyes, maybe in the eyes of people who haven't, as of yet, made a decision about her and who she actually is. And all of this, 10 of Wands, is a tremendous burden on her, guys. Even though she's trying to come off like cool, calm, and collected, that's nonsense. This is a great burden. This line of testimony, this line of questioning regarding the did I hit him, I hit him, is probably one of Jen's 2 greatest burdens. And we'll talk about the other one in just a few moments. But yeah, she's burdened by this because she knows that her words here previously are being brought in to be scrutinized in this retrial. And the Hierophant, this is her counsel. This is representative of the prosecution. She's 100% looking over at and signaling with her demeanor, with her eyes. Perhaps when she licks her lips nervously, she's signaling to Hank Brennan and the team, Lally and whoever else is there. I'm in trouble, help me out here. So she is appealing to her team for assistance, like, for example, please, right now, put an objection forward. I don't know what to say. All right, so this is the energy behind Jen McCabe's demeanor, the psychic energy at that moment in time. Let's go ahead and check out another one.
You Google searched the phrase, Hosslong to die in cold. Yes or no?
Yes.
On January 29th, correct?
Yes.
So you agree that you were on Google, correct?
Yes.
You agree that there was a search done at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I don't recall doing a search at 2:27. The paper says it. I don't.
Okay. And you also agree that at some point that morning, you plugged into that phone, Hosslong to die in cold. Is that right?
Yes, after we found John O'Keefe.
Now, you claim that that was at 6:23 and at 6:24 in the morning. 2 iterations of how long to die in the cold. Hosslong to die in cold. How long T.I. die in CIKD, correct?
I'm not claiming it. It's the truth. That's what happened.
This particular line of questioning is for Jen McCabe, probably right up there, if not even more of a burden for her than her previous statements of I hit him, did I hit him, that whole disaster. The Google search conducted at 2:27 a.m., I believe. This is crazy. This is uncanny. We have the 10 of Wands again with this tremendous burden. Look at the 10s here, guys. We have the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands. This indicates the end of a cycle 3 times over. And the Ten of Swords is completely being like, I'm done with this. I'm over this. But I want to pull a little bit closer so you can see some of these images better. This whole debate about what time that Google search took place, the house long to die in the cold or in cold, I believe is so insanely critical to this case, with the exception of the ARCA people who are going to raise enough reasonable doubt in the minds of this jury that it should be a no-brainer. But this Google search has been like completely dissected so much that she's over it. The Ten of Swords, she's done. Look, Jen McCabe knows full well that she made that Google search at 2:30 in the morning, because she was well aware of something that had gone on inside the McAlbert home that absolutely 100% did cost John O'Keefe his life. And she is like, please, I have suffered enough over this. So she's done. She's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't want this to be seen anymore. Ten of Swords, she's done. She's over it. This is absolute emotional but mental fatigue. And she should be mentally fatigued. She should be much more than that. And again, we talk about this intense burden, this Ten of Wands. She's wearing this burden, and she's carrying this burden because she knows that so much of this debate has gone on due to the fact that she made that famous Google search. And I don't care what any of the so-called tech experts have to say about glitches and tabs left open or whatever. Jen McCabe made that search at 2:27 a.m. I know this psychically and without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, but here, you guys, the Ten of Pentacles. Who is paying this woman to make sure that her testimony goes as smoothly and seamlessly as possible? She is being paid. She is being paid to stick to these stories now. Because look, if she were to go back, if she were to renege on anything, she would perjure herself. But she is being paid. I wouldn't doubt it, guys, if she wasn't being paid all along to put herself out there, to be the so-called victim. She's been bullied. She's been harassed. Oh, woe is me, Jen. But she's being paid off, guys. She's being paid off by the Commonwealth in some way, shape, or form. I'm not necessarily suggesting their team of attorneys is paying her, but someone within that McAlbert gang has paid her handsomely to be under this much scrutiny. Guys, I have to jump in here with something I heard from my guides shortly after I watched this video back. I was told that not only was she, or has she been paid for her testimony, she has also paid people for their cooperation. So there has been money exchanged, allegedly. And I'm so glad, in a way, to see the Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands around this particular thing, this topic, because this is exactly what she should be feeling. Completely done, mentally fried, and overburdened. You brought this on yourself, Jen. You brought this on yourself. Okay, next clip, please.
Brian Albert and his family had a dog on January 29th, 2022, did they not?
Yes, they did.
What was that dog's name?
Chloe,
What kind of dog was Chloe?
German Shepherd.
Big dog.
Yeah, good sized dog. Yes.
Wasn't a little munchkin dog, though. It was a full-size German
It's a
Shepherd.
full size, yeah.
On the morning that you described going into the house, January 29th, 6:40 a.m. or so. You indicated that you burst into the bedroom to wake your sister and Brian Albert. Is that right?
Yes, I went into the bedroom.
You walked in the unlocked front door of Brian Albert's house, correct?
I went into my sister's house, correct?
You walked into the bedroom door where Brian Albert and Nicole Albert, according to you, were sleeping. Is that right?
Yes.
So you would agree that you unexpectedly, in terms of their view, unexpectedly walked into their house basically in the middle of the night, middle of the morning.
Yes.
You indicated that when you went through their bedroom door, you sort of burst through, correct?
I opened the door. I don't know if I used the word burst.
You previously indicated that when you went through the door, it was chaotic.
I was kind of like in just a state of shock, and I remember thinking, I don't want to startle them, but I have to wake them up, because obviously when I wake them up, they're going to be panicked and think something terrible happened.
Well, why didn't you want to startle them? Something terrible had happened.
I didn't want to give them a heart attack when I woke them up.
But you didn't walk up and just nudge them and say, hey, Nicole, honey, can you wake up? There's something we can talk about. You didn't do that.
No, I was like, Brian, Nicole, wake up, wake up.
Okay, exactly. Yeah. But you weren't saying it in that voice either. You were saying, Brian, Nicole, get up.
I'm not sure if it was that loud, but I definitely was, definitely like trying to wake them up, yes.
What was the dog's reaction?
I don't recall seeing the dog.
Friends, I had to interrupt for just a moment because I received another very important download from my guides after I had filmed this reading earlier this morning. And this is entirely new to me. My guides are suggesting that perhaps she didn't burst in, she walked in that room, and perhaps her brother-in-law and sister were not actually asleep. Perhaps they were just feigning sleep and she knew it. But at this point, she was like, all right, you guys, you have to come out or help now. Stay with me here, guys, because if Jen McCabe knew at 2:27 a.m. that something was amiss, something bad had seriously happened, it stands to reason that she therefore would have been also aware that her brother-in-law and sister knew what happened as well. So if she did burst in or go in and yell or holler for them, it was because everything was hitting a head, was coming to a head at that moment in time. Anyway, extremely intriguing. Thank you to my guides, and now let's proceed. The Three of Swords, the Ten of Wands again, the Eight of Cups again. You guys see that I'm shuffling. The cards go back in. I don't know where they're positioned, and I just shuffle and they come out. The Ten of Wands is evidently the biggest theme for Jen McCabe. Jen McCabe feels as though she is carrying so much of the burden of this case on her shoulders. She is like convinced that she's showing up here to, again, try to save the day. She's so burdened by this, you guys, and she should be. We're talking here at this moment in time, as you just saw, about Chloe. Chloe, the dog that was rehomed conveniently, in my opinion, on that very evening after that dog attacked John O'Keefe. The Three of Swords, the Eight of Cups, okay? The Three of Swords is that trauma, that heartbreak. Three of Swords, Eight of Cups. And look at this depiction. Can you see this, guys? Let me pull in a bit closer once again for you. Three of Swords. Despondent. Jen McCabe knew that because Chloe attacked John O'Keefe, that the decision was made early on, probably shortly after midnight of the 28th of January, that dog was out of there. That dog was done. Within that moment of her testimony, she could have been feeling somewhat bad about the fact that Chloe could no longer remain the treasured pet. And I say that loosely because in the trial, in the first trial, the first Karen Reed trial, the Alberts Brian and Nicole could not have been any less emotional toward the discussion about Chloe. So everybody, the Eight of Cups, completely disengaged emotionally from that animal, from that dog. And with Jen McCabe saying, I don't know, I didn't see Chloe. Chloe wasn't there. She had already done the same thing. She had already removed herself emotionally from the thought and the existence of Chloe, the German Shepherd. And again, feigning all of this, like, oh, this sweetness, like, oh yeah, not a little dog, you know, da 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 da. She was, again, that burden was upon her. She was carrying the whole weight of this burden about this discussion of, look, the Three of Swords is for herself more than anyone else. The Three of Swords is for herself. She carries this brokenhearted energy because of the fact of this intense strain on her character, on her mental health, on all of it, guys. She's so deeply burdened, and there's absolutely no sense of love lost for that dog. She could care less. Jen McCabe could care less about that dog. In fact, Chloe was another burden for her, especially at that moment of time during this testimony, this retrial testimony or cross-examination. All right, we have one more clip I'm going to share with you guys, so let's get right to it.
Channel 4 is Indini.
And that's from whom?
Brian.
So Brian Albert explain what that text means.
So Brian Albert is telling us that Julie told him Channel 4 is Indini.
Who's Julie?
I'm sorry, Julie Albert.
Thank you. Let's go to the next text. Ms. McCabe, can you read what this text says, who it's from, and who it's to?
This is from Matt McCabe to myself, my sister Nicole, and Brian.
Can you read it for us, please?
Sure. Eating, I assume. Ask Chris to ask some questions. Tell them the guy never went into the house.
What does tell them the guy never went into the house mean to you? How did you take that?
I took that as John never came in the house.
Who's the guy?
John.
John O'Keefe.
Yes.
And the beginning of that sentence is tell them that the guy never came in the house, correct?
Yes.
That is a textbook example, what we've just seen, of witnesses colluding with one another about a subject matter that's under investigation, correct?
I move for instruction.
All right, jurors, disregard that comment completely. Disregard that question.
Okay, guys. The Queen of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Sun, and the Four of Swords, guys. Look, we've had the Queen of Cups several times. Now we have the Queen of Wands. Let's pull them closer so you can take a better look at Tell them the guy never went in the house. The guy. Outrageous, guys. Absolutely despicable. The Page of Swords, that is in male form here, showing up with that line, that cutting, absolutely just disgusting comment. I don't care how the Commonwealth is prepared to twist that sentence to make it seem innocent. It is absolutely not innocent. This was a comment of conflict, and Jen McCabe was well aware of it at that moment in time. That was a very, very serious statement that would have cast a terrible light on that whole text exchange. That would have proved that the narrative was being spun, had already been spun, and was being weaved as they were texting back and forth with one another. But check it out. The Queen of Cups, the Queen of Wands. She is the siren rising above. Jen McCabe wanted to come off so sweetly and so innocently. We were just having a family conversation amongst friends, amongst loved ones. We were concerned. The Queen of Wands, Jen McCabe, in that moment in time, saw herself as the one to be more or less protecting the others, having been brought to the fire, held up to this sort of scrutiny. Look at the status she assigns herself, the queen. The queen, please, Jen. There's nothing royal about you, Jen. Then we have the Sun and the Four of Swords, guys. At this moment, with this particular text exchange having been illuminated, brought to life, there, and she knows it, and she knew it at that moment during that cross-examination, this was in the bright light of day. A text exchange that should never, ever have been in the hands of the team trying to defend Karen Reed's very own life. But now it was brought out for the entire world to see under the glaring bright light of day. Jen McCabe was done. She was absolutely done. At that moment in time, she was like, I need a rest. I need a break. She was probably signaling like crazy over to Brennan to be like, I need a timeout here. I need to regroup. I need to mentally get geared up for whatever was coming next from Alan Jackson. She was feeling wearied. She was over it. She was done. And she was no longer able to escape from that bright light of day, from that sunburn, as it were, of her family's, her husband's own words that at that moment in time was coming back to haunt her, All right, very interesting stuff. So that is going to do it for this video, for this part of the series, as we're looking at Jen McCabe's psychic energy and what she was going through inside during her cross-examination. And I hope you've enjoyed getting this peek into her psyche. Guys, Jen McCabe is 100% the great pretender. Do not believe this woman. She lies like a rug. She lies effortlessly. And as we saw in this video, she has been paid to do so. So take these messages at your own discretion. Of course, you are always welcome to share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section. But as I have stated previously, I ask that you remain kind and respectful. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here with me today, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Take good care.